Welcome back to the Junius Maltby channel. Thank you for joining us for today's headlines and discussion and look at the events that are forming the world around us every day. We had sort of an atypical introduction there, straying away from our normal routine that we open our videos with, and I hope you had an opportunity to read and get kind of an idea of how that was going to segue into today's video. We saw kind of a trend there. We're going to look at some trends in this video thanks to Gerald Celente and his Trend Forecast Journal. We do have a little article in here, clips from that. But as you can see, there has been financial catastrophes in the U.S. history and in world history repeatedly. And they seem to be coming and getting more frequent, more commonplace. And the time spans between them oftentimes are more narrow than they have been in the past. And I pulled those from an article that I'll show you. I'll put a link in the description to where those maps came from so you guys have an opportunity to read those articles, because it brings you to some links where you can look at financial catastrophes and events throughout history dating back to the Roman Empire, which we have referred to events back then on this channel in the past. But let's get right to today's headlines and articles, because there's quite a few of them that we're going to cover and read through. Again, not thoroughly, but highlighting them as we've come accustomed to here. But record silver coin demand signals financial trouble ahead. There's been, as you know, some high demand for silver. We've covered it. We've looked at it, but let's take another look at it because this is fairly recent information, December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But record silver coin demand signals financial trouble ahead. The world doesn't realize it, but record global silver coin demand is warning that big trouble is coming to the financial system. More investors are waking up to the fact that there is something seriously wrong with the financial industry and broader stock markets, and are buying more physical gold and silver than ever. You can take a look at these charts that we're going to kind of go through here from the SR Sirocco report. You can look, it's pretty obvious right there, and there's charts that reflect these numbers across the spectrum of the internet. So this isn't just one location that's producing these type of numbers and surveys. We've covered them over the last few weeks. You've seen reports coming through this channel from various outlets that silver demand, silver coin sales are through the roof. I don't know if, I think it was Perth Mint, one of them. You might have to fact check me on that, but one of the major mints just the other day announced they were completely out of silver blanks. They've stopped minting silver for the year. They have run out of supply, which is interesting. Royal Canadian Mint silver maple leaf sales hit record Q1, Q3 2015. The Royal Canadian Mint just released their newest Q3 report showing a huge increase in silver maple sales to 9.5, I'm guessing that's million ounces, up 76% compared to 5.4 million ounces during the same period last year. There you go, silver maple leaf sales 14 versus 15. Significant jump there, significant increase. Even with the prices dropping and the prices being lower, it's creating a really good buying opportunity. And the savvy investors, the intelligent investors, see that. They look at that opportunity and they buy it. You know, you'll hear comments on this channel and across the internet from the skeptics and the anti-gold, anti-silver crowd saying, "Oh, look at your metals. Look at the prices. Why would we buy those?" Because the price is low. That's why. Goofball. When the price is low, you buy it. That's what you do. So, good buying opportunity. That's what this is showing us, obviously. Silver Eagle versus silver maple leaf sales. Again, major increases there in both in sales. Official silver coin sales 2015. Look at that. Big jump there. Many individuals are perplexed about the current low gold prices. This is from another article here we're going to read through. Especially with all the madness in the world. It just doesn't make sense. While the U.S. Federal Reserve has backed off from printing money, the other major central banks continue to print, while sovereign debt around the world continues to explode. Most countries still have stagnant growth. The quantitative easing experiment has failed to stimulate any economy, but has pushed prices of equities, bonds, and property artificially high, just as Bernanke said it would, giving many individuals the illusion of greater wealth. But this has only benefited the small minority of people on this planet, while the majority has suffered from an enormous transfer of wealth. Here is why it is essential to own gold. This is one author's opinion, one article, some good points. Let's see what he has to say. This massive transfer of wealth has been caused by the major central banks that have dropped interest rates to record lows and in some cases to negative, thus penalizing the savers and favoring the speculator. And, geopolitical tensions and domestic unrest are increasing almost daily. In such an environment, owning some gold and silver makes a lot of sense. The U.S. and many other Western countries have national debts, deficits, and entitlement spending that is out of control. Their positions are unsustainable. This, in turn, encourages central banks to behave recklessly, putting world markets and your money, I will reiterate that, in very real danger. So the question you have to ask yourself once again, as you think about your investments and your savings, let's add to this, your pensions, your retirement, you know what I refer to here on the channel, all of your labor, your store of work, your store of labor and your worth. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: do you trust your government? So ask yourself, do I trust my government to keep my money safe? If not, then you'll want to put a proportion of your wealth into gold and silver bullion. Gold is like no other asset class. Gold has no counterparty risk. If you hold physical gold, you don't need another party to make good on a contract or promise. This is not the case with stocks and bonds and virtually every other investment. If you own gold, you can rest assured that it will always have value at any time in the future. And as illustrated in my example above, over the long term, gold will maintain its purchasing power. 1 ounce of gold will buy as much goods and services today as it did years ago. That's been a fact for 70 centuries. Another key point, a lot of key points in this article that really tie into a lot of the videos and themes that we kind of beat here on the Junius Malpe channel. History has shown us that every single fiat currency has eventually collapsed. That's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. That is a fact. And when this has happened, barter systems have always emerged. Gold and silver make perfect barter, accepted by most around the world, and they've done so for, again, 70 centuries. In a dollar collapse, the price of items won't mean much. Prices will increase rapidly, but in such an event, individuals holding gold and silver will determine their metal's value and decide what change to expect, not merchants. While the gold price may be lower than investors would like, it's clear that interest in the metal remains strong around the world. Those interested in investing in gold would do well to remember that, like most markets, the gold sector is cyclical, meaning that what goes down must eventually rise again. If you get a chance and you look up this article, he's got some other key points that are above here that would be very interesting for you all to read through, but I wanted to just get these points in here. Don't have time to cover everything today. We can't go about making 2-hour videos. I don't have the time, and I guarantee you guys would not sit through a 2-hour Junius Malpe video. And I hope that paints a lot of the picture that I'm trying to get across to you guys here, that owning metals is imperative. The video opened with showing you guys some changes that have taken place in the past, financial catastrophes, and what could be coming in the near future. Let's look at trend forecasts here from Gerald Celente. When the final numbers are tabulated, overall holiday sales will trend lower for 2015, and the overall retail sector will grow weaker in 2016. Indeed, beyond the holiday season, from luxury brands to mid-range and low-end product sales, there is a slow and steady slump across all retail sectors throughout most of the developed and emerging markets. Black Friday was very decreased, or it wasn't as black as people had hoped. It was, shoppers didn't turn out in the numbers and spend as much as they had initially hoped. or as much as economists had hoped for. In the United States, for example, where consumer spending accounts for some 70% of the nation's GDP, the downbeat reports from retailers throughout the year are clear trends of tepid growth followed by steady decline, with the labor force participation rate at 38-year lows and median household income below 1999 levels. Medical costs are rising, along with property and school taxes, far faster than wages, and with some 51% of the working Americans earning under $30,000 a year, there will be less discretionary income for non-essential retail products. People can't shop if they don't have money unless they go in debt. But debt ultimately will continue to destroy the economy, kicks the can down the road, and delays the day of reckoning. Ultimately, people are broke, they're getting broker, they're not spending money, and they're not spending as much. The economy is sick, it's not healthy. Everything we see that tells us the economy is recovering or is doing better is a false front, smoke and mirrors, mind games, propaganda, news articles, fake images. It's all a charade. It's not real. It is not healthy. Trend post to profit. The shop local, support the community businesses trend we identified well over a decade ago is alive and thriving. Cities and towns with downtown shopping areas that create festive holiday celebrations will boost retail and restaurant traffic by attracting America's mall-weary consumers that are starved for hometown experiences that ring true. Yes, the shopping mall's dead. It's dying. That was predicted years ago, not by myself, by me, but by other individuals much wiser and knowledgeable on the subject than I. It is if you own a shopping mall, get out of it. If you have a retail space in a shopping mall, try to move to a more thriving downtown local community area. Abandon the mall. Don't build anymore. So, you're buying your gold. You're buying your silver. You guys are stacking. I'm stacking. We're part of the, quote, stacking community. The gold hawks, the silver hawks. Let's look at an example of what we might be seeing in the future or what might occur in the nations we live in. Because most totalitarian or draconian government regimes tend to follow in the same footsteps and perform in similar fashion, especially towards the people, towards the little individuals, the peasants, the serfs, the plebes, the knaves, the you and I's. We tend to take the brunt of government force when it comes to price controls and property seizures and just the violations over that which is ours, the fruits of our labors, our wealth, our money. So Greeks told to declare cash under the mattress, jewelry and precious stones, including gold. When earlier today we read a report in the Greek Economia, according to which Greek taxpayers would be forced to declare all cash under the mattress, including inside or boxes that contain more than 15,000 euros, as well as jewelry and precious stones, including gold, worth over 30,000 euros, starting in 2016, so a month away. We assumed this had to be some kind of April Fool's joke or mistake. It was not. Here's the take of Keep Talking Greece, whose stunned response mirrors ours. Cash, quote, under the mattresses, totaling more than 15,000 euro, jewelry and other valuable items such as diamonds and gemstones should be declared to electronic system of tax authorities, TaxisNet, as of the 1st of January 2016. Next, to properties and vehicles and shares, now the taxpayers will also have to declare their deposits. And not only that, they will have to fill, if they rent, bank lockers, and if yes, also the name of the bank and the branch, even if abroad. I am assuming that this paragraph was translated from the original Greek. A joint ministerial decision issued by the Ministries of Justice and Finance indicates that taxpayers in Greece should add all their valuables into a new category of the tax declaration, the assets declaration, unquote. Again, remember my point about bureaucracies and governments. I've mentioned it before. Whenever you see a bureaucracy with a name like Ministry of Justice and Finance, just remember it's the opposite of any words that are in it. So this ministry doesn't execute justice, it violates justice, because it's not just to take people's wealth and steal the fruits of their labor and exorbitantly tax them and seize that which is theirs. And it's Ministry of Finance. It doesn't produce any finance. It just steals the finances of others, which is not just. So the Ministry of Justice and Finance does nothing of which it proclaims in this little bureaucracy, in this little country of broke Greece. So always remember that. Any bureaucracy named does not do what it does. And so, all right, here's what it looks like the form, I guess, is. I screen grab right off the page there. This is what the little Greek citizens are going to have to fill out. I'm assuming hours in the future when our totalitarian regimes issue such orders to us when they're going broke, we'll have a similar form where you will have to fill out, how much gold and silver you have, and then the government can always come and grab it or tax you on it. And remember, what happens if you don't comply? Men with guns will come to your house, take you away, and put you in a cage. That's always the consequence when you don't comply with the state. They send men with guns to come, take you away, and put you in a cage. So specifically, the decision provides that assets declarations are submitted electronically and mandatory via TaxesNet, starting date for January 1, 2016. Declared must be cash money if more than 15,000 euro and precious items if their total value exceeds 30,000 euro. These amounts apply cumulatively per household, husband, wife, underage children. So imagine now if gold and silver rose dramatically, it might not take that much gold or silver to add up to 30,000 euro to have to declare it. That's just a thought. To facilitate the completion of the declaration, data from the income statements E1 and E9 will be drawn automatically. Note that this assets declaration process will initially apply to lawmakers, journalists, public servants, etc., and is a rehearsal for the creation of the electronic property and assets register that will be extended to all taxpayers. Another view of the form. There you go. So, friends, countrymen, fellow inhabitants of the planet Earth, all of you out there that view and watch this channel, we just took a sprint through quite a few headlines, and we started off looking at some past events, and now we took a look at some human behavior that's taking place now that points to possible future events, that being the purchase of silver and gold and metals, kind of a collective subconscious, if you will, that something's not right, something is ill in the economy, and therefore human behavior is reacting, and people are stacking metals at a rate that is, I guess you could call it abnormal or increased. Something's happening. Something is happening, and something will happen. Something will occur. The people that say that it won't, well, that's just living in a state of denial. I believe a lot of people refuse to believe or refuse to allow themselves to believe that something could happen that threatens their way of life. Because, and I may have brought this point up in a video in the past, but I'll bring it up again. Once an individual accepts the fact that things may not be the way they are currently, that the future might not be as productive and might not be as safe and might not be as secure as the present, that the future may be worse, or the future might hold things that are uncomfortable. Once an individual accepts that, makes that decision to think that way, to think, okay, the future might not be as good, it then becomes incumbent upon that individual to prepare for such a future or prepare for said future. And that might involve lifestyle changes that are uncomfortable. Those lifestyle changes might mean cutting back on certain expenditures or changing your lifestyle, changing one's lifestyle in an uncomfortable or less, for lack of a better term, quote, fun way of living. And I think that's the biggest hurdle. I think a lot of people don't want to accept the fact that things might be worse or might change, that the future might be less productive than the present, because then it puts a responsibility on them to prepare or to adapt, to make changes. And they don't want to be weird. They don't want to live differently than everyone else around them. They want to have the nicest car. They want to live a certain way and have a certain lifestyle, a certain image. And of course, you don't want to go to a dinner party and talk about the financial collapse of 2025 that might occur and what you're doing to better prepare your life for such a possibility. Of course, you don't always want to live in fear either, but it's not always, there's a balance. It's not living in fear, it's living prepared. Living prepared, living in a way that you're not as susceptible or fragile to changes in the world economy. Thanks for being part of the Junius Maltby channel today, guys. I appreciate you all being here. I hope you got something out of this video today. If you did, drop a comment below, start a discussion. If you liked the video, go ahead and click the like button. You guys liking the videos, you sharing the videos, you commenting on these videos is what encourages me and motivates me to keep this channel alive. As I've said in the past, once you guys stop liking and commenting, and once the conversation dies, the Junius Maltby channel will die with it. But until then, until such time where I make the decision to thoroughly eject myself from the internet and unplug from this matrix, I will be here to carry on this conversation with you guys and discuss these things in detail. So, keep stacking, avoid prison, pay your taxes. Remember, always pay your taxes, or the men with guns will come and take you away and put you in a cage.